and learn to operate less like solo practitioners. That's a quote. So the government's practicing medicine now. The goal, Daschle's book explained, is to slow the development and use of new medications and technologies because they are driving up cost. He praises Europeans for being more willing to accept hopeless diagnoses and forgo experimental treatments. And he chastises Americans for expecting too much from the healthcare system. Let me read one of the quotes. Daschle says healthcare reform, quote, will not be pain-free. Seniors should be more accepting of the conditions that come with age instead of treating them. That means the elderly will bear the brunt. He then goes on to say, you're over 60, you shouldn't be able to get the eye surgery you need. So you've paid into the tax system your whole life. They stole your Social Security. They stole your Medicare and Medicaid money that you invested, you were supposedly going to get. It's all gone to bail out the banks in their global takeover. And I heard the Democrats hissing on TV and radio today, admitting, well, yeah, we're going to have to tell the doctors what to do, but, you know, this is what we've got to do to give everybody health care. Okay, continuing here. Again, doctors are on record, health care providers are on record saying this will lower quality, and the bill states, oh, yeah, it'll save hundreds of billions of dollars over the next decade, because every year it cuts $43 billion out of Medicare and Medicaid, lowering the amount of money that can be spent. To the logical extension like Cuba, where they have more doctors per capita than any other nation, they don't have any equipment, the drugs you need, or the expertise. You get an aspirin for a heart attack in Cuba. When we come back, the abortion issue. It's another political trick. Abortion is funded in this bill, and one of the last congressman holdout votes says Obama's going to sign an executive order, but all the legal scholars say the bill is what will be followed that funds taxpayer-funded abortion, not the other executive order. That's coming up. We'll also get into the discrimination in the bill. A bunch of unions are exempt from it. We'll be right back. We're covering the government takeover of healthcare. They've already taken over the auto industry, the greenhouse gas taxes to shut down whatever coal plants and factories we've got left. China, India, Mexico have to make zero cuts. The president's announcing the takeover of the internet, saying they may censor news. So they're taking the web over. They're taking every facet of our lives over. The hate bill they passed last year federalizes your local police. It's just a total takeover. And all the government's good at is lying and stealing and thieving for their special interest. Okay. Obama agreed an hour and a half ago with the final Democrat vote they needed to have an executive order to get as many as 12 pro-life Democrat votes. But experts on the Constitution have reported that a executive order is trumped by the bill. The bill says taxpayer-funded abortion. The county where I live, Travis County, Austin, Texas, resides in the county, last year started funding abortions with a county tax. It doesn't matter what executive orders are in place. So this bill does fund abortion, and Obama, even if he tried to enforce his executive order, which, of course, he's a pro-abortion guy, it would be thrown out in court instantly. So this will fund abortions. It is in the bill. The Democrats could strip it out right now, but they're not going to do that. They could have done it a week ago, a month ago. No, they're going to have an executive order that Obama hasn't even signed yet. Remember, he wasn't going to hire lobbyists, hired more than anybody ever had in history. He was going to cut the federal budget. He spent more money in 1 year than all presidents before him combined. He was going to get us out of Iraq immediately. Year and a half later, there we are, expanding all these other wars. He was going to end torture, the Patriot Act. He's for it. He was going to end warrantless wiretapping. He's for it. So the White House says they're going to sign this executive order sometime in the future that won't allow the funding, but the bill does allow the funding. Just like they said the bill wouldn't fund illegal aliens, it funds illegal aliens that are already bankrupting the southwestern states with their anchor babies. They come in, have a kid, the whole family gets free health care, welfare, everything else. It's all in there. A bunch of unfunded mandates to the states. So the good news is 38 states are saying they're going to fight it. That is coming up. Continuing here, and the points I want to go over is how this was passed. Billions of dollars to congressmen and women's districts that agreed. Open bribery. The discriminatory areas where 7 of the biggest unions in the bill are exempt from the Cadillac provision. It's not a Cadillac provision. They take more money out of your paycheck. You've paid for it. You get great insurance. And it's not just the unions, some of the big unions that have this. It's a lot of big corporations have it. Small corporations have it. If that's part of the package and what you're looking for, they take the money out of your check. Your employer matches it as part of your employment, and you pay no deductible. And it covers everything. Chiropractors, whatever you want. CAT scans, mammograms before you're 45, when it kicks in with regular insurance. It's all paid for. You paid for it. No. Everyone in the country, millions and millions of people that have the Cadillac insurance, you get a giant tax of 50% of the cost of your plan. 50%. Let's say you're paying $12,000 a year on average to get a Cadillac plan. Well, you're going to pay $6,000 extra tax. It's just full of taxes. I've tried to read the 2,700-page new version that they just released yesterday, and I spent hours yesterday morning trying to go over it and just doing Control-F keyword searches, and it's just all in there. And I have the AP's boil down. It says it's in there. So, you talk about discrimination. You've got 7, and the way the bill reads, later Obama can selectively decide if others get to have it. It gives them these political favors. That's why Biden, the vice president, was in the Washington Post on Friday saying, quote, "We will own and run health care in America." Remember during the takeover of General Motors with taxpayer money, 40-something billion, that it came out on the House floor that if you'd been a big Democrat contributor, you got to keep your Chevy dealership, some of them 80 years old. But if you hadn't, the government took your Chevy dealership and gave it to whoever they wanted or shut it down. So it's all selectively enforced. If you're one of the select groups that has curried favor with the government, you don't get the 50% tax on your Cadillac plan. So just absolute discrimination. These are the new upper class, the new kings and queens, the new lords of our society, and the discrimination expands from there. Multiple states get quasi-exemptions in this whole system. I can't even believe this is happening. Now, here's another important point I want to make, and then the key point, the most important point's coming up. These are all important points. But the Republican Party tripled the size of government in the 8 years of George W. Bush. We thought that was the worst ever. Obama spent more than that and every president before in 1 year. We're now, 14, 15 months into this guy. But 1 year in, he spent more than all presidents before. But remember, the Republican Party's controlled by the very same corporate interest. Same people finance John McCain. They win either way. You got some good freshmen. You got good people like Ron Paul and others. But predominantly the leadership are just as bought and paid for. They are looking at this as a political win. It is a political win. But the Democrats are bought and paid for, so they're going ahead and committing political seppuku, political suicide. Because this is what they've got to do because the people that put them in power are demanding it. The insurance companies that wrote this bill, it's the same as the banker bailout. It's a robbery. But we have to stay angry. The Democrats are openly saying, we think you'll forget about it. We think you'll find out about the good parts of the bill. Because you've got national polls between 65 and 75%, and that's an average. Some are in the 80s, some are in the 50s. But the vast majority of people are against government running health care and against a lot of the provisions. But then you see other polls where they say, well, should we cover the 32 million uninsured? And you'll get 55, 60%, depending on the poll, in that range, who are for, supposed, are you for saving a drowning puppy in a river? Yes. Are you for the government taking all your rights to save the drowning puppy? Well, no, because the government won't save the drowning puppy. So the Democrats think they can spin this after it's not a politicized issue. They think you'll forget about it. We have to make sure that at the state level of the attorney generals, the legislatures, that we take control of the state houses of the political process, that we demand states nullify and say, we're not just going to federal court, we're doing that too, but we're going to have our state attorney generals and our state guard say we're not doing this in our state and kicking the feds out who are in our jurisdictions. And that's constitutional. Because under the Commerce Clause, they have no right to come in and say you must pay money to a private interest. You must pay on average $5,000 a year. And now that all this government money's going in, it'll go up. That's what monopolies create.